Greetings and welcome to another Lessons with Odin. Today's episode I'm going to be showing you how to make these simple, cute little earrings. There's a couple of components of right angle weave attached to that, and they're just a lovely, quick thing to throw together and have a lot of bit of sparkle in your outfit. So yes, for this project you will need some 11-0 seed beads. I'm going to be using Delicas, actually, just because. And you only have to use one color if you like, but I'm going to be using two in order to make things a little bit better to see. Some 6mm beads. I'm going to be using Bicones for this round, but feel free to use rounds or even rondelles. It's 4 per piece, so if you're making a pair of earrings, you will need 8 total. And the same number of 3mm beads. I'm also using Bicones here as well. You will also need some form of teardrop bead. This is a down drilled, I don't know how to refer to this, through drilled, I don't know, it's not a top drill, the opposite of top drill, that's what this is. You can use a top drill, you just orient the bead a little differently, but yes, teardrop bead, something shiny to go dingle dangle on the bottom of the pendant. And of course, your needle and thread. I'm using a size 12 needle with some crappy ass Nymo that I hate. Let us get started! So, I am going to start off by adding 4 seed beads, pulling them down, leaving a tiny bit of a tail. We're going to use the tail to make a bail, so probably a good 6 to 10 inches is good enough for a leftover. Then I'm going to pass my needle through those 4 seed beads again to form a loop. Like this. Then I'm going to tie a knot using the tail end of my thread. That is what we end up with. Then I'm going to pass my needle through one of these beads. I'm going to pass it a little bit loosely so that the knot doesn't get trapped inside there and cause a bit of a mess. But I want to be through one of my beads. Then I'm going to add 1 6mm bead, 5 more seed beads, and 1 6mm bead. Then I'm going to pass back through that same seed bead so that we form another loop on the other side of the seed bead. Now for security, I'm also going to pass back all the way around so that these don't flop about. Now from here, I'm going to pass my needle down through one of the 6mm beads, then add on 5 more seed beads, and 1 6mm bead. Then I'm going to pass my needle through the next seed bead in the center. Then once again, I'm going to reinforce this entire segment that I just added. Then I want to end up on my 3rd 6mm bead, and I'm going to pass up through the next seed bead in that center of 4 over. Then I'm going to add my last 6mm bead and 5 seed beads. Then I'm going to pass back up through the 3rd 6mm bead and through the seed bead that's next over. Once again, I'm going to reinforce this to make everything snug. From here, I'm going to pass back down a 6mm bead. Then I'm going to add 5 more seed beads and pass up to the next 6mm bead to bridge the gap. Then I'm going to anchor it by passing through the seed bead next over and reinforce this entire segment once more. And you should have this little square crown cap thingy. Now I'm going to pass down the 6mm bead and through a set of 5 seed beads. Now you'll notice I have a bunch of these gaps in the corners in the back. I'm going to fill those gaps in using another color seed bead. Now once again, you don't have to use a second color, but it just makes life a little bit easier. All I'm going to do is add 1 and pass through the next set of 5. pass through the next set of 5. Keep going until you've put all 4 beads there. Once you have all 4 beads in place, you're going to pass your thread again and reinforce everything to secure the 4 corner beads. Ends up with your thread coming out of one of the corner beads. Now you're going to add 3 more seed beads and pass back through that same corner bead. You're going to form another cross and then reinforce this again to secure it in place. End up so that your thread is coming out of the top bead in this circle. Now you're going to add 12 seed beads and pass back through that top bead. So you form a loop like this. Reinforce that loop. From here we're going to pass through 3 of these seed beads. I'm going to flip my piece over so I work in the front. Then I'm going to add on 1 3mm, 1 seed bead, and 1 3mm. Pass backwards through those seed beads again. Then I'm going to reinforce that segment in place. Then I'm going to pass my needle up through the 3mm bead, add on 1 seed bead, and then 1 more 3mm bead. Now we're going to count up 3 and pass backwards. 1, 2, and 3. Pull tight. And then we're going to reinforce this next segment. From the second center seed bead, we're going to pass down through the 3mm bead, and then down through 3 more seed beads on the round. Next, I'm going to add on 1 3mm and 1 seed bead, and then pass back down the third 3mm bead. And I'm also going to reinforce that segment. From here, I'm coming up my 4th 3mm bead that I added. Now I'm going to add 1 more seed bead, and pass down through the very first 3mm bead that we added. So that now we have 4 seed beads in the center. I'm going to go back through this segment also to reinforce everything and to secure it in place. Next, I'm going to pass through all 4 of these seed beads in the center to cinch them together and form a more neater cross like we have here. Now everything is cinched together. Next, I'm going to move down one of my 3mm beads. Then I'm going to pass through this next set of 3 seed beads. If I flip it over, you'll notice I have the same gaps all the way over on this back, so I'm going to add 3 more seed beads in between, and then reinforce. Once I have my 3 beads attached, I'm going to move over to the opposite corner again, and add another 3 seed beads to form the second cross. Then I'm going to end up coming out of the top bead on this cross. Next, I'm going to add 1 seed bead, my teardrop bead, and 1 seed bead. Then I'm going to pass back up through the teardrop bead, forming a fringe drop. I'm going to add 1 more seed bead and pass through the opposite side of the seed bead in the cross that we started at. Then I'm going to reinforce this segment and then end my thread. To add your bail, pass up so that you are coming out of the corner seed bead right across the way from everything else. Then add 5 or 6 seed beads and pass back through to form a loop. Like that. Reinforce it and then end your thread. All you have to do is attach your ear wires or even a bail if you want to hang it on as a pendant. And you are good to go! So I think that'll do it for this edition of Lessons with Odin. Don't forget to check out my skillshare classes happening. I have much more in-depth patterns going on over there. I will have referral links down below for all the pertinent information and such. Also, don't forget to share what you make from my Lessons with Odin. I have just started a Facebook group for you guys to share all your wonderful, delightful creations and colors. And yes, it's magically wonderful. I will leave that down below as well. And that's it from me. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And of course, if there's anything I need to be trying out right now, feel free to leave me a comment down below. And I will see you next time.